This is Rowena Dooley asking Sol citizens to report for duty.
But before we get into that, I want to introduce our co-host. Going to start with Captain Jones. How you doing, Captain Jones?
I'm good, soul friends. How's everybody doing?
Doing all right. Good, good. And Kawadi, my potential successor to to this show and other shows. How are you doing, Kawadi?
Yo, I'm making the kind of jokes he's gonna make just in case, right? I'm doing spectacular, FC. How are you doing?
Spectacular. Okay, I'm glad to hear it. I'm doing well, thank you. Hope everybody's doing well in chat today. Yes, this is episode 227. Oh, 227. Hey, that's a throwback. Young folks won't get that reference. But yes, I hope everybody's doing well in chat too. But yeah, today is November 10th. We got a few more weeks before IAE and a few more weeks before Thanksgiving. Before we get into the show, I just want to announce that we do have a tentative or almost sure date for Virtual Bar Citizen. So stay tuned for news for that coming up later. All right. So yeah. So what do you the Beyond Pyro? We're gonna start with that soon. Do you have any impressions or anything before we get started about that show? Yeah, Kawadi. No.
I was very surprised. So when I first saw the video, I'm really looking forward to seeing it again because since the CitizenCon, I haven't watched this particular video again. So I was particularly surprised that Kasha was the other one. Because we had some speculations on what some star systems is going to be, and Kasha was not on my radar, surprisingly. But
yeah, some people think Kasha, but a lot of people didn't.
Yeah. So what's interesting is that it has along that border with Xi'an space and those things. So I'm gonna hold my speculations. Given its proximity to the Xi'an space, but it's really exciting that they chose that one particular star system.
And you, Captain Jones, you were actually there. So how was your presentation? Were you actually in the venue there, or were you having lunch?
Yeah, I was actually there. I was seated for there. So yeah, the crowd was pretty hyped about it. We've been waiting a long time to kind of get an outline and framework of what those next systems are going to be. I wasn't particularly surprised about Castor. That's one of the ones I thought we would get. I was a little bit more surprised about Terra. So seeing the Terra in the pipeline for that 1.0 release was pretty cool, and I could say the crowd was pretty excited to hear it. You can feel the energy live, and when they were waiting for that, it kind of teased you on the last system when everybody's waiting for it. You can just feel everybody kind of sitting on the edge of their seats trying to guess what it was going to be.
No, I would have been on the edge of my cart like I usually am. See, that's what the band gets you, Scott Riley. That's what the band gets you.
I don't have enough thing to initiate the guys. Please help me out.
All right, and with that, let's get started with the video for Beyond Pyro.
Hello, everyone. Wonderful to see you all. Thank you for coming out. Did you guys see that worm? Really cool. All right. So right now, it's all hands on deck to make 4.0 the best experience for you. Richer locations, deeper gameplay, better experiences. All with completely new and wonderful music from Pedro, which will create an evocative and emotional backdrop. Rich and I have been working directly with Pedro for many months now. Beautiful music awaits. But today, I'm going to talk to you about what's beyond Pyro. So let's strap in and we'll take a look. My name's Ian. I'm the creative director for Star Citizen. And let's start by looking up into the stars and saying hello to an old friend.
Gotta get props for the music.
Oh, yeah. The quantum travel effect also.
Awesome. All right. So this is Nyx system. Nyx was discovered in 2582 by Carla Larry during the height of the newly formed United Empire of Earth's territorial expansion. Its most defining feature, and the source of its name, is the sprawling black dust cloud that occupies most of the system. The dust cloud severely hampers visibility and can interfere with your ship's scanners. This system does, however, border with Vandal space. So, visitors are being advised there are Vandal raiding parties hitting locations throughout the system. But, despite this, a small community has formed in the system, and this is on an asteroid in the belt between Nyx 2 and Nyx 3. And this asteroid is called Delmar. And here it is, hidden deep in the Glacium Ring. But actually, Delamar should be, and now is, an actual asteroid. And as it's an asteroid, the space is a zero geolocation, giving a unique identity for a landing zone. So let's take a closer look at the main POI on Delamar.
Much improved, much improved. Y'all remember when they got rid of Nix? Well, they never had Nix, never mind. But Delamar, they had Delamar in there.
Yeah, it was painful, but I mean, they had to do it to give way for Crusade and Horseman.
All right. Awesome, awesome. So for all that remember, it's awesome to be able to say, welcome back to Levski. And for new players, let me tell you why it's a cool place. This used to be an old mining facility, which was mothballed and then abandoned. There is an internal network of abandoned tunnels and mine shafts, and these are now populated with refugees, fugitives, and criminals. This is also the home to the People's Alliance, who you'll be doing some work for. And as Levski was made some time back, it needed to be updated so that it can fit into current gameplay features and systems and mission loops. So let's take a look at the first update, and that is to the hangars and landing services. Release the Kraken! All right, cool. So Levski is still perched over the borehole, but now has a suite of hangars that are arrayed around and inside the borehole. We're also increasing the quantity of hangars. This is to meet the ever-expanding players per server to remove hangar wait times. And this pass will be done for all landing zones in the game right now. And for players that don't want to store their ship, docking services will be added high up on the cliff walls. Now, other than hangars and docking services, there are other ways to enter the location, which are also getting new updates. Let's take a look.
It's a lot of detail.
He's practically ready.
All right, awesome. So around the main entrance, there's still gravity plating for on-foot access. And these will lead to open landing pads for quick drop-off and pickup. And we're also adding access to gameplay areas for a variety of local missions and gameplay types. And as you saw in the video, there will be banks of exterior freight elevators. These can be used for quicker gameplay loops without requiring hangar services. Now, as this is a zero-G location, it also gives an opportunity for another type of specialist freight services. Let's take a look.
This looks great. I like this.
Is unexpectedly good.
All right. So first off, now the borehole goes all the way through the asteroid, which is awesome to fly through. And down at the base of the asteroid, there will be banks of exterior zero-G freight elevators. These will be priority access for Hull series ships. So for all the Hull series folks, we got you covered. The same functionality is also coming to space stations in both Stanton and Pyro. But wait, there's a little bit more. Let's take a look.
I don't know this song. Like it though.
This is the original Levski song.
Okay.
All right, cool. So, the external freight elevators will now have direct access to cargo decks to be able to quickly sell or pick up for the next run. So that concludes some of the exterior updates coming to Levski. But the interior is also getting some updates to bring them in line with current gameplay requirements. These will be spaces like cargo services, as we just saw, for hauling and supplies, and refinement centers, so you don't need to travel far to refine your ore. And we're updating the interior layout to provide better access to gameplay spaces. So to conclude, Nick's system will be the next system after Pyro. Yay! Delamar is now a physical asteroid with a zero-G play space. All right, not so much. And we're updating Levski to fit current gameplay mechanics and gameplay loops. And most importantly, we're adding local areas for gameplay content. Now, speaking of gameplay in landing zones, let's leave Levski for now. And let's jump to Rainy Arcop, which is missing the most gameplay spaces right now. So we're continuing the Building Interior initiative. We're adding additional districts to landing zones, which are gameplay focused. These gameplay areas will interweave with the landing zone, but ultimately will be independent. So for Area 18, let me introduce you to the Municipal Works. And this will be split into two locations. The actual Municipal Works, which will be an open world sandbox area for all players, and the lower Municipal Works, known locally as the Depths, which will comprise of several instanced levels. So, how do I get to the Municipal Works? The Municipal Works is accessible in multiple places in Area 18. Some will be available to everyone, and some you'll need to unlock with mission progression. As an example, here's a map of Area 18 Central. And as I said, there'll be various access points throughout the landing zone, and some will be easier to access than others. These access points will lead to transit systems, taking you deep into the underbelly, eventually reaching the Municipal Works. And the Municipal Works will have spaces like maintenance, filtration, and the sewer network, which is what we're seeing here. It's a very exotic place. So down here, it's an open world sandbox for you and other players, very similar to contested zones in Pyro stations. It's an area to do local missions, like exploration, repair, or even pest control. But the main purpose is provide access to the depths. And these will be instanced areas. So, what is an instance area? Well, an instance area works in the same way as an instanced hangar. And as the name says, it's a separate space for you and your group. But why do we want to do this? This gives us the ability to create tailored missions that will provide a mixture of content like combat or exploration or puzzle gameplay, and fundamentally allows us to design challenging, meaningful content. All right, so let me illustrate, going over here, how the depths will be split by levels. Now, stay with me on this. We're going to rattle through it quick. So let's say you're in level B01. You're running a mission, you're having a great time with the curated content I just mentioned. But down here, you'll have to do a variety of content over a period of time and over multiple play sessions. At the end of the mission, you'll find an access point, which will bring you back to the landing zone. And you'll do this loop multiple times with different mission content. After achieving the required amount of progression, your access level will be upgraded. So this time, you head down the access point elevator, and now it takes you all the way down to level B02, and you continue on with your journey. Now this is your new area with different mission content, new rewards, and a new access point back to the LZ. The same as B01, you'll do this loop multiple times. And you guessed it, eventually you'll get access to level B03, and we continue deeper. With each level you unlock, you access new areas for new mission loops. You'll access new, more challenging curated content and access better and better rewards. And this is what will form progression-based content. So as I just described, was a very condensed version of an actual play sessions, but this still describes the unique gameplay experience. Landing zone areas which will offer long-term gameplay progression. So that concludes this section on gameplay spaces for landing zone. We're excited to show you more. All right. So we're going to head away from Arcot for now. Let's look again into the stars, and now we're going to talk about solar systems. All right. Stanton system was the primary system in the game. It serves as a lawful system. It's protected by the UEE and will continue to be evolved and updated as we balance it with other systems. Then we have Pyro system, which we've spoken about at length, and this will serve as the primary unlawful system and is the perfect contrast to Stanton. Then, as we just saw, we have Nick's system. It's not a totally unsafe system like Pyro, but it depends on where you go, as it borders Vandal space. See that little bit of red? That's Vandal space right there. And the UEE does not protect this system. But we've got a little bit of space there, haven't we? All right. I thought you were saying click system then. I'm like, I'm not sure about that one. All right. But we've got a bit of room at the bottom. So it would be a shame not to fill it in with something, right? So if we get a big cheer, we'll reveal the system. You ready?
He played around too much. I was way too early for this shenanigans.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Here it is.
Click already.
Oh, all right. Okay. All right. All right. Okay.
Even the crowd turned on him.
Let's take a sneak peek at system number 4. Here it is. Well, it's awesome, right? All right. No, in order to reveal the 4th system, let me take you on a little history lesson. And to do that, we're going to load up our old friend, the Galactipedia. So, we're back in the height of the human-Xi'an Cold War. Tensions were at breaking point. In 2542, Armistead Perry introduced a designation line for a group of 8 planetary systems that marked the borderlands between Cyan and human-controlled space. The United Planets of Earth designated the systems as no-fly zones and utilizing them as military staging grounds. But one system on the Perry line offered a key strategic position for a potential invasion into the Cyan Empire. And that system was Castra. But luckily for us, war was averted, the Perry Pact was signed, which was a peace treaty between the now UEE and the Cyan Empire, so the Cold War ended. The systems of the Perry were divided up between humans and Cyan, and fast forward back to present day, humans and the Cyan enjoy a more prosperous relations, and everyone's cool. So, the fourth system will be Castra.
That was an old concept for the Cyan. I haven't seen that in a while.
History lesson's over, so let's jump in and find out a little bit more. First, we have Castra 1. Here it is. Castra 1 is a dead, coreless planet because it's too close to the sun to be terraformed for human habitation. So instead, the UEE Navy used Castra 1 for target practice, giving it the nickname of Bullseye. All the weapon testing throughout the Mesa era has left Bullseye covered in craters. And as you can see, it's super toxic, meaning ground exploration will require high-end environment suits. And as you saw in the weather demo, raging storms will create difficulty of access, giving risk and rewards for adventurers seeking unique minables and other items. Okay. Then we have Castra 2. The second planet from the sun is called Cascom. And this was the location of the military's staging area. Since the system was opened up to non-military settlement, it has since become a center of trade and tourism, but is still considered an Earth-centric traditionalist system, which prizes citizenship above all else. Let's head down to the surface and check it out. Breaking through the clouds, you'll find a landscape full of Great Lakes and lush crimson forests. And as you saw in the CTG presentation, you can see how we're going to make these worlds with the new technology. High up on the mountain range, here at the highest peak, we can just make out the landing zone called Sherman. Which is fondly known by its residents as the island in the sky. Sherman is currently in pre-production, but I wanted to take the opportunity to show at least a sneak peek. Let's take a look.
Shout out to Matt Sherman.
I gotta give a shout out to Kush and IE for pointing out these music sound like Ghost in the Shell. I might have heard about the server before, but it felt like the first time I've heard of it, or maybe in a long time.
I never heard of it.
Actually, there's a video on this that translates the music, the lyrics. I'm going to be hanging out here for quite a bit.
Yeah. Looks amazing.
Awesome. Let me take you through some of the areas of Sherman you just saw. The dominant landmark you see in the center is Spaceport Ulysses, named after the mountain Sherman is sitting on. This is where they staged the bombers that were on active rotation, waiting on any sign of any aggression. But now it's mostly a commercial spaceport. The Navy still has an airbase here, but it's a great place to see some big ships of the UEE. Commercial hangars are located inside the main trench. And even though this is a converted from a naval base, it still has an impressive military flavor. And speaking of military flavor, the original AOV-9s anti-orbital cannons are still present around the defensive walls, with most of them being decommissioned once it became a civilian city. Over to the left of the spaceport is the Sparrows Industrial Park, home to the sprawling cargo yards and manufacturing plants. The Sparrows has evolved from its days as a military supply and munitions depot into a bustling and modern industrial park. To the right side of the spaceport is Fort Riggs, which originally used to house the Army when Sherman was used as a staging point for a potential ground assault of the Xi'an Empire. Since the area was decommissioned, it has now been turned into a business park and is the governmental center of CASCOM, with the Governor's Council headquarters located here. As this base was built during the Mesa era, as humans were expanding their borders, this introduces a new architectural style for humans. Between the First Travarian War on one front and the Xi'an Cold War on the other, a new style called Henoism arose, with an emphasis on prefabrication and fortification. The designs were robust, durable against warfare and harsh enemies and harsh environments. And from all the locations we just saw, high up on the upper wall, you can see the commercial district, and specifically the Ansel shopping complex. Situated high above the sprawling main base below, the Ansel area originally served as the command center to Sherman's military operations. Inside this building, you'll find key areas like the Edge of Oblivion Bar, which was converted from the old officers' lounge. You'll also find Eckhart's security headquarters, and you'll find the Mercenary Guild headquarters. The other areas in the commercial district include the OPA towers for habitation. That's the building on the left. And on the right, it's the Imperial Sherman Infirmary. There's also the Reeves Military Museum, where you can experience the history of humanity's military and the role that Castra has played in keeping the Empire safe. And finally, we have Overlook Point, which is the name of the vantage point and park situated in front of Central Command, which has the best view overlooking the landing zone. So that's a quick overview of some of the key areas of Sherman. I think it's devastatingly beautiful, with a rich history and unique mood and vibe. Awesome. So before I go, I want to thank you all. You are all awesome. All your passion, all your dedication make our lives as devs so much easier. And thanks to the CIG staff, who's the awesome work we're seeing in front of you. So thanks again. You are all amazing, passionate, and enabling us to dream big. Enjoy the rest of your show.
There he is. Okay, go back. I hope everybody enjoyed the presentation. Yes, so let's get Captain Jones. What are your thoughts now that you've seen it again?
Yeah, seeing it again was pretty cool. Had even in such a short window, had started forgetting a few things. But the inclusion of Castro was very interesting, especially being different than what we have when you look at the different architecture that was there, way different from what we got in Stanton. Having a human area that's actually high sec. If you're looking at the video, you could see there was a heavy presence of combat ships available. I don't know if anybody peeped the size of those orbital cannons, but can't wait to see those in person or in Star Citizen. It looks like it's going to be an interesting place to visit, and also different from what we have. Gives you a different feel from Pyro and Stanton. And then, of course, happy to see Levski was back. I forgot how big that asteroid was.
It's gotten
That they
bigger.
had some.
It's gotten bigger.
Yeah, because I believe it was on the moon before when he moved it. You know, it was about 3 years ago when left Stanton. It felt like it's been way longer.
Hmm.
We saw it when they first talked about it being, a zero-G landing site. I was thinking, oh, we've got that already. It's no big deal. We got Grimhex and the asteroid, but yeah, those asteroids just don't compare. I'm pretty
Hmm.
excited to go back and check out Levski again. I know before they wouldn't let you land with alien ships, so I think I'll fly over there with alien ship first and just see what they say.
It'll be interesting to see whether or not they upgrade the other asteroid because of what they've done with Levski.
It's almost like they have to now,
I
They
agree.
shown us you're going to be comparing it. It's no going back.
Yep. And how about you, Karate? What are your thoughts?
I was pleasantly surprised, but also really glad to see the return of Delamar, because if I recall, when they first introduced the planet using the procedural tech, which, by the way, the music that we heard for when the Connie flew in, that was People to Planet music. That's when we first heard that song. Of course, it was a technical limitation from what I recall. So for us to be able to have the space stations and those things within the asteroid definitely shows how much of an improvement it is compared to before. Because I also remember, based on the original design, the whole idea with the asteroid, the hangars being in that little pit, that we had before, that was kind of didn't have any use. So it was nice to see that. Who knows where they got the feedback from? If it was from the community or if they had also ideas, because like Jared said, some of the things that we think about, they also think about too, because I mean, they're also part of the community as well, or some of them may have started from the community. So it was nice to see that it has some kind of use, and they've even taken it a step further where it's completely hollow. And definitely curious to see how they apply that in terms of the number of hangar doors and hangar access areas to the other landings and just moving forward to the existing ones and the ones that we'll be getting moving forward. So yeah, and of course Castro, Sherman. I can't wait. Really can't wait.
Yeah, I agree. And Doc, thank you for giving me a subscription. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You should
How many
have
months do I
jokes, man.
have? Okay. So my thoughts, like I said before, well, trying to say before, I might have heard about Sherman, but I felt like this was the first time I've seen Sherman, and so it felt like maybe they talked about it in Castro before, but I didn't realize, I never realized that Sherman was going to be like a landing zone or a whole big thing, so that's interesting. It was great seeing it for the first time. And I love the music because it had the Ghost in the Shell vibe, like I said before. Looking forward to getting my hands on that song, getting the soundtrack, because I'm going to be listening to that quite a bit. Capital Ship Hangars, I mean, this is a prelude to what we're going to see later on in a later presentation, but I think a lot of people were interested in seeing this because you see the Idris, I think what the Idris coming in, and all those ships flying around in that. Folks, if you see an Idris, especially a UE Idris, don't try to get close to that. Don't try to fly by that close. that was not, that those flybys were for presentation purposes only. Okay, so don't do it in game. Quite a bit, and about the municipal works. Are y'all going down to Area 18 to participate in that municipal works?
Yep, it almost seems like a necessity. So it looks like it's going to be pretty grindy in a way for you to rep and supplies and things like that. I was interested in the fact that they made it instant, because that's different than what we've been exposed to in the past. Everything's been actually physicalized there, but I think because of the mission archetypes that's going to be down there and probably the amount of people trying to go at once, it kind of makes sense. If everybody's trying to go through and do their grind down there, and if we get to server counts to the levels that we're hoping we get them to, there'll be an instance to make sure everybody can get in there and get their gameplay in without having to have a big pile up or waiting. It's kind of like bunkers now. Somebody goes and clears it out. And now you're waiting for things to respawn and stuff. So, yeah, I think it's going to be cool. I'm pretty excited to go check it out.
Yeah, some people may be disappointed about the lack of PvP aspect, because if you're doing contested zones between different groups trying to accomplish the same goal, there'll be less of that. But I think most of us will be pleased, because that means we'll be able to progress. And like you said, it might be grindy. So having not to worry about other people interfering with you will be a plus, in my opinion. But I'm not sure how the PvP people feel. But I do wonder how many basement levels there will be. Like, they went up to B03. I mean, it's a city planet, so who knows how far down they'll be able to go. Like, I'm guessing like 10, 20 levels basement. What do you guys think?
So the good thing about those instance levels is that they've, at least based on what they said, they've kind of set it up for additional levels to come online, so that could be one avenue that will continue to expand once they have a baseline. And the other thing I wanted to raise in terms of the instance levels, what's good is that at least they're taking an approach that has existed with MMORPGs for a long time when it comes to dungeons, and many dungeons in some MMOs have been PvE. So, yes, we like to do things differently in Star Citizen, but we also like to at least get to Star Citizen 1.0. I was going to say finish the game, but the game will continue to expand.
Right.
But we want to get to that 1.0, and if it means using an idea, which has been an effective idea in MMOs, or with respect to dungeons and those things for PvE, and of course you can have the PvP aspects, and maybe with the other upwards that they talked about, then so be it. Because the thing is, yes, it's true. At first, even all of us are old backers. I wouldn't have expected for there to be instancing in the first go, because we've been on the cusp of utilizing the latest technology, latest principles for a long time. But we, at the same time, I don't know if this is, or one should say this, but there will come a point where we will hit that snag where we have to wait for technology to become more readily available in terms of the maturity of it. And we can't wait for that to happen, for us to have, servers that are more powerful, but also cheap enough to have these non-instanced environments. So if they think that having instancing is something that can get their goals out without having to wait for that to happen, then so be it. And it's been effective. It's proven itself in many MMOs, so why not use it?
One last thing I want to point out at the beginning of the video, many people might have forgotten this, but to talk about Vanduul raiding parties. And so I'm particularly seeing dynamic events involving Vanduul and next. What do y'all think?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping there'll be a pretty compelling tug of war gameplay going on in there constantly, maybe with you dipping into Odin here and there. People might forget that Odin is right there connected to the Nyx, and we know it's highly likely that we'll see Squadron 42 before 1.0. So
right,
that whole system and layout to be there for you to have the tug of war. So that'd be cool. Along the same lines with Caster too. So Caster connects to Nyx and Pyro, and Caster was also the segue into the Dion space. So they really did a good job of setting up for future gameplay, so that we start getting in tussles with Vanduul, or want to start to expand into that Geon space. We already have the systems in place to do it.
It'll be interesting to see whether or not you mentioned Odin. When that system comes online, will they give us a chance to try to take it over from the Vanduul? But that's like way beyond, not way beyond, but that's beyond 1.0.
Were you guys surprised when Terra was mentioned, by the way, or what were your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's been a few weeks, so I can say I'm not surprised. But I mean, during the presentation, I was pleasantly surprised. I was hoping for Terra. To put it there, I was hoping for Terra, but I wasn't. It was like hit or miss. So I wouldn't have put money on it. But yeah, how about you, Captain Jones?
Yeah, I was also in the same boat of hoping for Terra, but I wasn't banking on it. So I was a little surprised that the Terra was in the work for 1.0. But then when you think about it, back in the day on the old presentations they did, Chris Roberts, one of the first places they showed us was Terra. I'm sure that it's evolved quite a bit since then, but it's not like they just sit there and work on nothing when they don't tell us that they're working on it. So I think a lot of times people think if we don't see
Tell
it
them not
on the
again, Captain Jones. I think
website,
people heard you.
I'll sum it up to they work on a lot more than what they show us. I mean, we are fortunate to have a lens inside of the project, but obviously we're not going to be in everything they're working on. So it'd be weird for us to think that they showed us, what was that, like 7 years ago, they showed us Terra and really been sitting on our hands doing nothing since then. So now I was assuming it'd be Castra because I knew they would need somewhere where you can, as a new player, start in a fairly safe area, and Castra current systems and also not very big. But yeah, pleasant surprise to see Terra's on the map, and makes me think we might not have been expecting Terra, so maybe some other things on in the works that we don't know about as well.
Right. Yeah. But hopefully we'll get it soon, TM, as they like to say.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to take a commercial break, so let's get started with the commercial before we move on. There we go. Commercial started. Thank you all for supporting Soul Citizen. We appreciate everybody who supports us. Whether you're a Patreon, a follower, a subscriber, or you joined on YouTube, we appreciate all y'all. All the support that you're giving us goes back into the community. Matter of fact, we are doing a giveaway at the end of the episode. I forgot to mention that. I'll mention that at the end of the commercial again. But yeah, we're doing a giveaway soon. So stay tuned for that. We also do shows not just on Sundays, but we do shows on Thursdays and Saturdays. We have Pro Talk on Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern, at 2 a.m. UTC because of the time zone change. And Soul Voices on Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UTC. So stay tuned for that. So we're almost back. So thank y'all again for the support. Appreciate it.
I literally had to Google again what time zone it was because I was like, okay. A friend of mine is like closer in the UK. Does that mean they're closer in the US? But
it's an hour difference. How hard is that?
But still, is it like further also or closer? Make up your minds.
Fall back, spring forward. How hard is that? Anyway, we're back, folks. And we're going to get started with crafting your home. So let's go.
Thank you, CitizenCon. It is an honor to be here. Yesterday, we presented the verse that we're creating for you. We shared new tech, locations, creatures, giant worm, social features, things we're doing with orgs. We even played the first chapter of Squadron 42 live. How great was that? Yeah? A few minor glitches, but nothing we can't sort out. So today, we got something just as exciting to talk about. But instead of focusing on what we're creating for you, we want to show you the world that you can build. With crafting, we're going to give you the tools to create your own loot, to build your own home. Crafting will fundamentally change not only how you play the game, but why you play the game. So, what is crafting? Why does it matter? Why should you be as excited as I am about this? Well, first off, crafting is a profession. It requires its own set of tools, the knowledge of how to use them. Crafting offers progression. You become a better crafter by learning new blueprints and upgrading them. Crafting builds on the existing gathering professions. When you would go out and you collect your materials for crafting, we are adding new depth and meaning to those activities. Crafting provides customization. There isn't just one way to craft something. Like I said, we have upgrades. How you make and upgrade the things you craft is sometimes just as important as what you're crafting. In addition, you can earn cosmetic upgrades, craft unique items, even subscriber flair. Nowhere is this versatility more obvious than base building. We're going to have nearly limitless options for how you construct your home, how to customize your base to meet your own goals. Most importantly, crafting gives you a lot of new choices. The choices will impact your goals in the game, your interactions with other players, and eventually how you see the game itself. So where do we get started with crafting? Well, you can't craft without materials. Luckily, we've got a lot of ways to gather resources in the game. And crafting is designed to complement and expand on all of these existing gathering professions, as well as future additions. Let's take a closer look at mining as an example. We've got hand mining and vehicle mining and ship mining. That's a lot of mining. But with crafting, we're going to introduce a lot of materials. So there's not just more to mine, but we're also going to specialize. So for instance, each type of mining will have its own unique materials to gather. Gathering specific materials efficiently will require you to use the right gathering profession. Let's talk about refining. Currently, only mining resources can be refined, but doing so allows you to turn them into more valuable processed resources. With crafting, we're going to expand refining to include options for all raw materials. In addition to expanding the variety of materials you can gather, refining lets you create processed materials that you're going to need to craft your upgraded blueprints. So now that you've gathered all these materials, what do you do with them? Currently, your only options in the game really are to sell them to a shop or maybe complete a contract. Adding crafting into the game radically changes your options. You can still mine, refine, and sell your resources, but now you have the option to make valuable and unique items, weapons, armor, even vehicles and ships. Right? And by valuable, I mean that the crafted gear that you create has the potential to be better than anything you can buy in a shop. But crafting just doesn't end with shiny new gear. Think much bigger. Crafting enables you to build your own home among the stars. You choose to make a farm, a hunting lodge, an industrial complex, your own trading hub, a military outpost, even a sprawling town with your friends and org mates. Got a lot here, but it's all optional. You can choose to focus on gathering resources and sell them to crafters that need them. You can skip gathering and refining and just focus on being the best crafter you can be. Or you can leave all that gathering and crafting nonsense to other people and just focus on trade and make some money. But that brings me to my last point. Player choice matters. When a player makes a choice, they assign value. Players' choices about crafting and base building will drive player trade. The community's choices will determine the value of the materials and the crafted goods you can all make. The game will still have its own shops and economy alongside players, but now you'll have more options about where you invest and how you prosper. Now, I've given you a nice overview of what we're working on here, and we have a lot more planned for the future. But now that you're familiar with the big picture, I want to introduce some of my fellow developers to come up on stage. They've got exciting details to share with you about the specifics of our new crafting systems, important gameplay improvements, and most exciting, I think anyway, an update to base building. start things off, please welcome Jacob Taylor to the stage.
Thank you, Rick. And hello, CitizenCon. Hi, I'm Jacob, Senior Gameplay Programmer on crafting. Rick has showed us how crafting will link into a lot of existing and new gameplay, but I think it's time we get into some of the details. I'm going to tell you about the new game mechanics we're introducing, starting with blueprints. Before you can craft anything, you'll need a blueprint. Blueprints provide the recipe to perform all kinds of crafting processes, including refining. You can acquire blueprints through various activities. Some you can buy, some you can find, and some can be unlocked or earned in other ways. You can also upgrade your blueprints through research. We'll go into more detail about what this means a bit later. So, blueprints are the recipe, and Rick already told us the materials you gather and refine will be the ingredients. But there's a bit more to it than that. We have a new concept for materials, material quality. Quality is a property we're adding to all resources you can gather. That's an abstract measurement of how good it is at being whatever it is. You can think of this as the purity of a metal, or the ripeness of a fruit, or something along those lines. This quality will be carried forward from raw resources through the refining process to influence what that batch of materials is best used for in crafting. High quality is more desirable overall, but is more rare, and there are still important uses for low-quality materials. More on that later. All raw materials you find in the verse will have a quality rating that's generated based on some rules. The same kind of rules you heard about from the Planet Tech team yesterday.
Well, thank you for the follow.
You'll find the same material in many places, but with varying qualities, so you might want to explore to find the best. Some materials that are already rare will be even more valuable if you can find them with high quality. But what's quality for? It's for item stats. Alongside quality, we're introducing a new item stats system to the game. This will allow relevant properties of craftable items to be affected by the quality of materials used to craft them. For resources, just a single quality rating is sufficient to provide variation, but craftable items have such diverse purposes that we need a more detailed system to provide both progression and customization options. We aim to have meaningful item stats for all craftable items, but some examples would be the damage and fire rate of a gun, the wear resistance of a ship component, or even the satiation provided by eating a hot dog. So, as I said, the quality of materials will directly affect the item stats, such that higher quality results in better stats. Most items require multiple different materials to make, which may each influence different stats. And in many cases, you'll have a choice of materials to use, which lets you decide which stats to focus on to tailor your items to your playstyle. Here we see I'm making a gun with high-quality aluminium, giving me a nice bonus to integrity and weight. But someone sold me low-quality copper, so I don't get as much fire rate bonus as I could have. To go even further, researching your fabrication blueprints allows you to build higher tiers of an item with improved base stats. So a higher tier item will be better than a lower tier item that was made with materials of the same quality. Making high-tier items requires more advanced materials, but is also how you access greater choice as to which stats to improve. This means that your high-tier items can not only be better overall, but also more specialized in the areas that are important to you. Most items will have tiers 1 to 3, with tier 1 being the most basic version of the item, and tier 3 being a highly advanced version made with appropriately impressive materials. But you can also craft vehicles. And vehicles are so important that they will go up to tier 5, providing a way for you to really invest in making your favorite vehicles excel. Of course, many of you have already bought your favorite vehicles, so you don't really need to make them from scratch, right? Or maybe you've pirated, salvaged, or otherwise commandeered a vehicle. Not to worry, you can still benefit from crafting by using an upgrade blueprint to increase the tier of an existing vehicle, including the usual stat improvements and customization. Upgrading a vehicle can save a lot of time over crafting it from scratch, so it's a convenient way for established vehicle owners to bring the benefits of item stats to their fleet. Let's take a look in-game at the difference it makes to have high-tier equipment made from high-quality materials. See how the recoil is reduced on our high-tier gun. The spooling is faster on a high-tier quantum drive. And a high-tier scraper beam is much more effective.
What I'm hearing, I'm gonna have to upgrade my early ion in order to hit stuff.
So, that's an overview of crafting's key game mechanics. I'll now hand over to Torsten to walk you through the full crafting process. Thank you, and have a good day.
Thank you, Jacob. Hi, I'm Torsten, lead system designer of the CGP system design team. We now saw all elements of crafting looked at individually. Let's bring them in order how you, as the player, will experience the crafting profession. You will start with acquiring the correct blueprints as the first step in the crafting process. As Jacob already mentioned, blueprints can be acquired in multiple ways. Let me give you some examples here. You can purchase commonly available blueprints, earn them from reputation and mission rewards, or even find them in loot crates. All content in our game could reward you with a blueprint. Some blueprints will be challenging to find, so players working together may find them easier to acquire. While you may find a blueprint on a datapad or other portable device, the blueprint itself is not a physical item. You don't collect them in a box or stack them on a bookshelf. Blueprints are digital. Once you claim one, it is permanently added to your personal library. This library is persistent to your character, and every blueprint you claim is yours forever. They cannot be stolen or traded once claimed. But it does not just end with acquiring blueprints. Those tiers of quality that Jacob mentioned are unlocked through blueprint research. Research requires a research data bank which can upgrade your blueprints. Upgrading here means that you unlock a blueprint that allows you to create a better, higher tier version of the same item using more advanced materials. Note, you will still have access to the lower tier versions if you want to craft the cheaper version. In order to upgrade a blueprint, you may need to perform certain actions. In this example, we need to craft 100-volt pistols and have one with a higher fire rate. Other examples would be collect resources, complete missions, or acquire research data from the Science Guild. Research is time-intensive, in addition to the action requirements. It will take time for the research data bank to process your research data and unlock the upgrade. You are also limited in how many research projects you can pursue at once. Now that you have your blueprint and you decided what to craft, you also know what resources to look for. Every blueprint you find will have unique requirements in their resource needs. It will not just be, you need iron. We want to make use of the professions we have to meaningfully involve them in the crafting process. Especially for the more advanced blueprints, you can expect that it will require materials from multiple sources. And, as already mentioned by Jacob, pay attention to the quality. If you want to have the perfect item, you also need the best quality. Here, the best way to find the best resources is to get out and explore the world. If you want to find the best hidden materials, then you get yourself a top quality radar. Once you collected the raw materials, the next step is refining them. Refining, like crafting, requires blueprints. Refining blueprints take primary, secondary, and catalyst materials and produce refined materials. The rule is very simple. The quality of the primary raw material defines the quality of the refined material. The secondary material you put in has an impact on the quantity and the time the refining process will take. An optional catalyst can speed up the process further. Let me give you a simple example. If you want high-quality steel, you need to put in the best iron you have in the primary slot. You can put any quality coal in the secondary slot without affecting the quality of the steel. But the quality of the coal will influence how much of it you need to produce steel. As an example, if you put in low-quality coal, you might require 4 SCU of coal versus high-quality coal that only requires 2 SCU. This is one of the important use cases for low-quality materials that Jacob mentioned. You can use refining stations in the world as they will be converted to this new process. You can build your own refineries for yourself, you can get your org to help you out, or you can simply trade for the materials that you need on the open market. Now we are reaching the final step. You got the blueprints, you gathered resources, and refined materials. Now you can create the item you want. And this item can be anything. You will be able to craft anything from FPS equipment to vehicle components, even entire vehicles and buildings. You just need access to the relevant crafting machine. Talking about crafting machines. We will have a variety for you that differ in what process they can support, like a refinery or a dedicated vehicle crafting machine. We will also find them in various places. There will be communal ones like the station refineries you already know, player-owned that can be in your personal hangar, a vehicle, or your base. As all that we have talked about just now, these crafting machines also come in tiers. Here, the tiers will affect how well those machines do their job. You will not only progress in the products you produce, but also in the infrastructure to produce your wares. Just to give you an idea what you will encounter, here are some examples of the crafting machines. There is the nutrition fabricator, the chemical fabricator, an item fabricator, and even fabricators of a much larger scale we will talk about later. Talking about scale, I would like to talk about the future of crafting and the scale it will have in the game that you all know, and how it will change the game moving forward. As you all know, we had a we have a lot of items in the game, and they all require their own unique blueprints. That means our aim is to have more than 1,000 blueprints that include the creation and the refining blueprints. And each of those can be researched to unlock tier upgrades up to tier 3 or tier 5. That's a lot of blueprints. And it will surely take a lot of time to unlock everything. So I, personally, recommend that you, as the crafter you are, focus on a specific field first and extend your knowledge from there. Collaborate and coordinate with your friends and fellow players. If you are part of a group, we invite you to share responsibilities with your org mates. Maybe you will be the FPS crafter while your friend is a ship crafter, but they know a ship component crafter specialist. There's a lot of content, and it will continue to grow over time. You are free to be a generalist crafter, a specialist, or something in between. Pick the blueprints you care about and be the best. Have an exotic shield generator that no one else has the blueprint for but you. Help others and earn credits while doing so. It is a real profession in the game that will benefit from your dedication and attention. As you can tell, crafting will have a huge impact on everything in the game. Even if you do not want to get actively involved, at some point you will stumble over a weapon that got crafted by someone else and you will be using it. People will start selling their crafting goods or the refined materials or even the raw materials for the sole purpose of fulfilling the demand created by crafting. Players like you can become well-known specialists that are sought out to get certain things crafted from. With the ever-expanding game we all love, we will continuously expand our crafting to offer you long-term progression that involves the entirety of our game. And you might have guessed it already, but there's one more thing that crafting is the foundation of, and that is base building. I will now hand over to Luke. Enjoy the second part of this presentation. Thank you very much.
Well done. Good morning, citizens. Who's excited to start talking about this next topic? Let's get into it. My name is Luc Gijsbertse. I'm the lead environment artist on base building structures. Now that we have an understanding of the fundamentals of crafting, thanks to Jacob and Thorsten, we can explore how crafting is the foundation of base building. Up until now, everything in the game we made for you. From here on, we will give you the tools to build your own stories, your own homes, and truly make the universe yours. Join me on a journey on building our own habitable home on Pyro. Keep in mind that the following footage is work in progress, including its UI, design, and visuals. And we're super excited to share this with you. We found a beautiful location by a lake. This is where we'll build ourselves a home. To do so, we need some resources and the construction graph card. The construction graph card allows us to survey the land, claim the land in a lawful system, and it allows us to build structures. As we've already found the location and don't need to claim land in lawless Pyro, we can straight dive into building our base. Keep in mind, the following UI is work in progress. A survey drone that deploys from the top of the cart gives us a controllable augmented view of the land. In the new structure mode, we'll pick a small basic structure and hit construct. For this demo, the construction will be instantaneous, but in the final product, this will take you quite some time. We've done it. We've built our first structure. Let's have a look on the inside. As we walk into the small basic structure, we see an empty interior that is dimly lit. It's up to us to define what we will use the space for. In our case, we will want to make it into a home. We can see that the lights are still off, and that is a problem, because no lights means no atmosphere, no breathable atmosphere. So it's not ideal to live in. So how do we solve this issue? We can improve this by providing the building with power. Let's see if we can build something that helps us out. But before we dive into more building, let's take a quick moment to enjoy the freedom that the survey drone provides us with and admire the aesthetics of our first structure. And I wonder what Declan was up doing there. Keep in mind that base building is still work in progress, but what you're seeing right now has been recorded directly in the client and works seamlessly between first person and the building mode. Okay, enough. Back to base building. In the list of new structures, we see a small fuel generator. That is something that could solve our problem, I think. Power providing structures need to be hooked up to other buildings inside construction ER mode, but we'll explain this later. The fuel generator is one of several structures that provides power, each with their own benefit and drawbacks. Fuel power is quick and easy to build, but it requires a constant supply of fuel besides its regular maintenance. If a structure is not maintained, it will halt its activity. Players will need to maintain fuses to keep the building operational. The better crafted fuse, the longer it lasts. This is where the fuse goes on this building. Next up, we have a terminal that gives us access to the status of our building. And, more importantly, we get to activate it here. That should do it. Let's see if we got power in the building now. As you notice, some of the crates in the background have disappeared, as their content has been consumed during the construction process of the buildings. And it looks like Declan is now hooking up the power to the building. I wonder what he was up to earlier, though. Wow. Declan has been busy decorating the place. As we can see, the lights are now properly working. We got atmosphere, and we can start to use the item fabricator now that there is power. Always handy in case we need a fuse. Let's have a quick look at what we've done so far. We've decorated the place. We made it our own little home. We hooked it up with power. I would say we have a place that we can live in. It might not be much, but I think it's just enough to call it a home. Thank you. Now that we have a rough understanding of how base building works, let's dive into some of the specifics of what we just saw. The construction graph card is one of 4 devices used for base building. The graph card is a mobile device that lets you construct a variety of small structures and has been designed specifically to fit into the smallest ships, like the Drake cutter. The graph card allows us to survey the land, to find a good location, to claim the land with credits when we're in a lawful system like Stanton, and most importantly, it lets us build structures. To use the graph card, we will first need to deploy it. Once deployed, we see 2 small construction drones inside the cart, and the interactive screen gets revealed to us. From here, we can deploy the survey drone from the extended top part of the cart. This survey drone gives us a bird's-eye view of the surrounding area using augmented reality mode, ER mode for short. Let's have a look at some UI concepts of how this augmented reality mode will look like. Here's a concept of construction ER. From here, we get a more detailed view of the land. Where can and can't I settle? For example, inside a nature reserve, construction will be prohibited. Are nearby areas flat enough to place my structures on? Are there any underground extraction deposits nearby? And if so, what are their quality and quantity? Let's say we found a good place to start building our base. Then next up, we need to find a good place for our first structure. On the left-hand side, we can see that we're now in structure creation mode. Underneath that, there is a list of structures that we can build. Once you have chosen a structure, you'll drag it onto the terrain that will be shown then as a physicalized hologram. From here, you can move and rotate to find the perfect position for your structure. Now that we have chosen a position for our structure, we will need to supply it with crafting materials. Just like the crafting interface that we saw earlier, this is where you choose the materials, and the better materials you choose will result in a better structure. Once you're ready, we'll hit the craft button on the right bottom to send the construction drones printing to the buildings. The automated construction drones will take off from the construction graph card and fly to nearby resources to fill their internal storage and then fly over to the construction site to print the building until their internal storage has been depleted. The construction drone then repeats the loop by filling its internal storage again by nearby resources. Printing buildings will take some time. Keep the construction supplied so that you don't delay the process any further. Let's say our building did just finish printing, then what? Then we need power. We need to power the building. All structures will have an unpowered and a powered state that we can manage inside the resource manager. To provide structures with power, we can easily link generators to structures that need power in the resource management menu within Construction ER. We can also link multiple buildings together. And we can assess the power consumption and shortage of, inside this resource management screen. Keep in mind that operational structures, like power generators, require maintenance of their fuses and sometimes need supplies coming in and going out to be managed. Now that we have a structure and power, what can we do next? Then we can actually upgrade our structure. Structures can be upgraded from tier 1 till tier 3. The better material you provide, the better the improvement will be. Just like Jacob and Thorsten explained in the crafting presentation. Tier upgrades can, for example, improve the structural integrity of the building or make its resource consumption more efficient. To really make your base feel like home, you will want to decorate your base with a wide variety of furniture pieces that can be bought, crafted, and found in the universe. It's up to you to define what you want this space to be. Do you want to decorate it as a hospital? Do you want to make it into a workshop? Do you want to make it into a luxurious bedroom? It's up to you. Furniture can easily be placed and moved using decorative ER mode as an hologram. This is so your furniture can easily fit through doors. This feature is accessible through nearby construction devices, allowing you to place down furniture pieces or even crafting machines that otherwise wouldn't fit through the door. And you get to place them directly from your local inventory. The less trusted among you, or anyone settling in Pyro for that matter, may want to lock their furniture into place so that only you and your friends get to rearrange your decorations. And best of all, decorative ER is not exclusive to base building and can also be used for personal hangars and ships. To recap, what are the essentials for any base? 1, come prepared, bring the right resources and a construction device with you. 2, use the resource manager, power generators to make your base habitable and functional. And maintain your base with resources and by replacing out worn fuses. And 3, personalize your base, personal hangar and ship with decorative ER. And there we have it, our home in Pyro. Now that we have an understanding of the basics of base building, we'll explore how you can go and make more than just a home. But before I hand you over to Declan, the designer behind base building, I'd like to say a quick thank you for those who made this presentation possible. So a quick thank you to Eddie, Brandon, Jack, Dan, Mark, Xiao, Stefan C, Dom, Stefan T, Carl, Joel, and Rob for your efforts and dedication. Now give me a warm welcome for Declan.
Nice one, cheers. All right, thank you, Luke. Good morning, everyone. Morning. My name is Dec. I am the system designer behind crafting and base building, and we've just seen a nice little base, right? That's good for cabin in the woods. Maybe you want to place it down next to big redwoods, go and explore, or a place to stash some loot you perhaps shouldn't have. But, do you want to see a big base? Yeah. Good, because we're going to industrialize. So we're going to set ourselves a goal before we do a video, and we're going to create a base that's capable of crafting something that's bigger than the item fabricator can handle. It's been a bit of a spoiler already as to what it's going to be. So to kick us off, called in the help of a friend who has a specialized, not yet revealed base building vehicle, and he's built us this. It is the construction hub. This has 4 automated drones compared to the GravCart's 2. They can build small, medium, and large buildings. So far, we've only seen small. Automated drones are capable of building 1 structure each simultaneously, so 4 is quite a big advantage. We'll pop into our construction AR and we'll get down a generator, we'll connect some buildings together just so we have a place to call home before we begin. All right, there we go. So we've settled on one of the brand new underground resource deposits and we're about to exploit it using this. It is our extractors. This particular one is a large solid extractor. We'll also have liquid and gas depending on which type of deposit that you've settled on. We have our output grid here where we're getting all the brand new resources up out the ground. And it is important to note that once these things are set up, it's not a case of just free resources forever. On key structures like this, there are fuses which will occasionally need replaced, as well as environmental wear which can be fixed using crafting materials.
That's going to be a lot of work.
All right, now we want to turn those raw resources into the more valuable refined materials. We saw the process talked about earlier with Thorsten. Of course, we want this. It is our refinery. Once again, there are multiple types here. This one is the large solid matter refinery. We have liquid and gas again, as well as biological, depending on the type of materials that you're using and want to produce. Refinery has input and output grids. For input, as you might expect, it's for the resources which you're going to consume, and then the output is for the resulting refined goods. This is determined where you would select which blueprint you want to use, and therefore which type of refining method you want. A lot of crates here with our extractor and our refinery, so we're going to put down our elevator storage. Base is really starting to build up now, but it's worth me mentioning again here that whilst we're putting these buildings down instantly in this video, large structures like this, they will take some time with the automated construction drones, but the smaller scale base we saw in the previous video, that can be done in a single play session. We'll just keep on putting down more extractors because we want as much as that valuable resource out the ground as quick as possible. And with base building, we're introducing the concept of a freight elevator network. What this will allow you to do is it will allow you to link multiple freight elevators together, and in turn they will share the same storage. So as we're doing here, we'll deposit an item on freight elevator A, and then we're retrieving it on freight elevator B. There is a distance limit, but you can daisy chain the elevators together to extend that. And it has to all be contained within the same base. Now, as we expand, we might want to invite more people to join us. This is easy to do. There will be permissions that we can set up, granting people access to our base, and they can even build their own structures if they wish. We can also give them access to existing structures, which is how you can form your org storage using those freight elevators. Now, we always want a safe place to store our ships, so the trusty hangar will do. See, it has this large, we call it a foundation tile. It's quite special in that it can actually deform the terrain around it, making it easy to place such a huge structure like this. You can also place other buildings on it, so it's easy for making large, sprawling bases. However, there is one final piece of the puzzle that we need to achieve our goal, and it is this, our very own fabrication hangar. Does anyone want to guess what we're going to build in a fabrication hangar?
Yeah, I think this.
An Idris, maybe not an Idris, if I'm honest.
Idea that they can
We'll have a drive around, we'll go to the entrance and we'll see what's in store for us.
It kind of looks that way.
Yeah.
So if you pay attention, there is more than one person working in the video, but we know how the community gets, so.
I'm very happy to be here!
Jeff McGee, thank you for the follow.
Looks like whatever it is, it's just about finished crafting. Of course, we were going to build ourselves a ship. So, Quick recaps of the gains from industrializing. We've tapped into the brand new resources and we've made use of them by turning into the more valuable refined materials. We've introduced freight elevator networks, which are great for logistics and hauling. And then we've created our fabrication hangar, which allows us to craft big valuable items such as ships. Now, ships are valuable because you can fly them, you can play content with them, but because they are a crafted item, they can also be sold to other players. So, with base building, you're going to be able to set up your own shops, and there's two main ways you can do this. The first is using a dedicated trading terminal. You can link these to your freight elevators, and in turn, any items within can be listed for sale at a price you deem reasonable. This includes resources, refined materials, and so on. Using the terminal, visiting players can browse what's on offer, purchase, and then collect from that same freight elevator. The second method is to set up a physical shop in the world. By using the decorator AR we saw earlier with Luke, you can maglock items and then list them for sale. Once again, browsing players, they can see the price of the maglocked item, purchase it, which then removes the maglock. Of course, the nice thing with physical shops is you can genuinely make it feel like a store. You can put items on shelving. You can even go as far as to make your own ship showroom. You can advertise your wares on a mobile pass for UEC. However, it is important to note that the point of purchase will always occur at the base itself. Now that we know how to set up shop, I just want to take a moment to talk about why it's so impactful for crafting and base building the game as a whole. Understandably, throughout this presentation, we've been telling you why you want to craft all these things or why you want to build this big base. But maybe you don't have the time to build a big base and maintain it. Maybe you want to spend your time doing the missions, you want to do your beacons, that's how you want to make your credits instead. Shops mean that you can benefit from the players who do want to spend the time making those bases or crafting those specialist items, and then you can purchase them from them, which is very important because crafted items using high quality materials will be the most powerful in the game. On the flip side, if you do specialize, maybe you end up cornering the markets for a particular item or resource, and your shop will then turn into a hotspot of activity, making you loads of credits. Some of you will become infamous because of it. But bear in mind, a successful shop also depends on location. Do you want your customers on edge in Pyro, which tends to have the higher quality materials? Or do you want to spend time hauling them all the way over to safer systems where your customers can be more at peace? We've talked about selling items. Let's sell the look of your base. We have foundation tiles, which can help you divide up the foundation decals, which help you divide up the foundation tile. You can place them freely wherever you want, and they just help you mark up areas like, I want to use this place for cargo, I want this for housing, vehicles, and so on. You'll be able to earn paint in-game and apply them to buildings. As well as add your own custom tech, so if you're part of an org, the blue buildings that have your name are definitely yours. We have some forms of base building which are either still in the design phase or early white box, but we want to share some details. First up, we have farming and ranching. Farming, it comes in two general types. We have our low-tech farming and then high-tech. Low-tech consists of you acquiring the seeds, planting them in the appropriate environment. If you remember back to yesterday, the Brave New Worlds, we had soil types and such now. That will play a part. As well as supplying them with nutrients and then just harvesting them when they're grown. High-tech, it's a bit more involved because you've got to make the hydroponic buildings we see here, but in return, you'll be able to grow exclusive strains of plants. Ranching will allow you to keep herds of animals. You'll have to provide them with feed, water, and shelter, but in return, they will provide you with produce. Not every animal can be ranched. I don't really see a sandworm ranch anytime soon, but the quasi-grazer will, of course, will. Not yet. Maybe. No. We have a few more additional archetypes. We have landing pads, garages, roads, fencing, as well as new variants of structures which you've seen today. For instance, the power generator, there'll be solar power, fusion, geothermal. as well as the XL structure class. So if you remember, everything we've seen today, the biggest we've seen today rather, is large. XL is larger than large. And then you have your defense. So, in lawful areas, you have varying levels of security provided for you. With max security, you are protected by planetary shield tech. However, in lawless, Pyro and the likes, you'll have to provide your own defenses. These come in the form of perimeter walls, shielding, which prevents aerial bombardments, and then a range of automated turrets, such as PDT to shoot down missiles, anti-air, anti-vehicle, and anti-personnel. To round up, whilst we spent this entire time talking about how you can expand a single base, you can of course have multiple. These can be across a single planet, moons, across multiple systems. There are advantages and disadvantages of locations and base types. For example, in lawful areas, you'll need to buy your land for UEC, pay a tax to be able to build, and then you'll gain protection in return. In lawless, no cost, higher chance of better quality materials, but no security to fall back on. A small cabin in the woods can be great to set up in a single play session with short build times. However, the large base we just saw will take days, weeks, or even months, depending on how big you want to go. You might want to embark on this endeavor as a team or an org. You can set up a base as an org and own it as the org. For this, there will be permissions available, and you can assign roles and tasks. Ultimately, base building can be your main gameplay loop or a supplementary one, depending on what it is that you value. On that final note, I would like to say thank you on behalf of the crafting and base building teams. We've been very excited to share with you some of the work so far and the vision we have for these systems. But before we go, we have one final video.
There you see all those people? That's gonna be how it's gonna be really.
Yeah. Sick demand.
I noticed this song the first time I saw this too. Cool song.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'd just like to say thank you especially to Kian and Zheng Shui. They worked very hard on this, and you might see that base again later today. So stick around. Thank you.
All right, I believe that's the end of the this video. So yeah. Kawadi, give us your thoughts.
Yeah, so with respect to the base building, one thing that made me very, very curious is, and this is something that they'll have to figure out if they haven't figured it out yet, but when you start the base building process and maybe there's some kind of hologram or holo view as it gradually solidifies, does this mean that a ship or even a vehicle cannot, become ethereal and stick through the holo view when the base is completing, for instance? Because I know an example is, I don't know how they do it in modern base building games or games that have base building, but one in particular, Death Stranding, when you set up any kind of hangar or base or module to be built, the same like the same process where you have the holographic view before it becomes solidified occurs. However, since Death Stranding, they don't have ships or a multiplayer sense where it will get, or intersect the holographic view. You don't really have to build a system to prevent that from happening. So these kinds of I guess ideas to be solved is something that I'm very curious to see how they're going to tackle it. But overall, I'm really looking forward to base building, and from how we were commenting in terms of the human resources, I'm definitely comfortable with having like a small cabin in the woods and just not
the big thing, not the big base.
Exactly, just one hangar. And then one last thing to note, though. I remember, I don't think they made a comment on this in the presentation, but I think if I recall, they did say that the resources that's being mined will be finite, right? I don't know how finite.
Something like that. Or it'll be finite, and sometimes it'll replenish. Well, I'm not really clear about that. They say sometimes it will replenish, or it'll replenish in different locations, but in the same general area. That's my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I got.
Okay, and well, in conclusion, I hope that it's not finite to the point, and I'm sure for gameplay purposes they won't do this. And of course, we'll just keep testing and keep iterating. But I'm crossing fingers that it's not finite to the point where we always have to go back and replace a fuse or something like that, or uproot our resource extractor without using it to play the game. I mean, some that is their game, right? But I hope that it's not a huge priority where the frequency of needing to do that is high.
Okay. Captain Jones. So, what are your takeaway?
Yeah, there was a lot of good stuff in there, from base building to really the beginning of the whole journey with the crafting. So I found the crafting pretty exciting, specifically when it talks to the points of being able to have the different tiers, whether it's tier 3s for the equipment or the tier 5s for the ships. Because I remember one of the first things I thought about when he started showing we could build the ships, was like, well, what about all the ships you've already bought? So the ability to improve those up to the different tiers and make some really unique layouts was pretty compelling. So I thought the crafting was really interesting. I think it was actually their first mention of research. I know we have the endeavors and research modules, but they never really talked about what you could do in research. So we at least now know that blueprints is one of them. They did say, I remember sitting there thinking maybe I missed it, and I watched it intently again on a refresh, that they said they were going to dig a little bit more into the research gameplay and how that was going to work, and they never did. So disappointed on that twice, but I'm still curious on what that research is going to look like. And the fact that they said that we can make things that are unique is really what got my attention, because I feel right now that we pretty much all have the same stuff. You going out and you're looting, but at the end of the day, everybody has the same stuff and the same ships and the same paint. So getting to the point where you can make some unique items is going to be pretty intriguing. I'm hoping that when it comes to the base building, there's a lot of different blueprints. Because in most games, the base building is more of you place a floor, you place a wall, and you make some unique looks this way. In this setup, it looks a little modular. I'm hoping that our bases don't all end up being the same copy paste.
I don't think so, because I think it'll be different depending on what location you are, what angle you are, compared to someone else. People, I think there'll be a wide diversity of what bases will look like, in my opinion. One something I saw in chat, just that's not in the Q&A. People wonder what happened to your blueprints when you die. Like like they said that 80% or 70% of your reputation goes to your next of kin due to death of a spaceman. Do you lose some blueprints, or do they all transfer? That's a question that I'm curious about. What do y'all think?
That's a great question. So they did mention in the video that it'll be permanently tied to your character. So that makes you think it's possible that with Death of a Spaceman, you can transfer it over to that your heir, whoever ends up inheriting that IP. 'Cause they say it was going to be digital, so maybe it's in something like a Moby Glass or something like that. But they also mentioned that once you claim that blueprint, that you weren't going to be able to transfer or sell it to someone else. So, great question. That's something that they're going to have to clarify, because I could see it going both ways.
And something else I want to hit on before we get to the Q&A is that I think they gave a false impression. I mentioned this during the video, but I just want to clarify. I think they gave a false impression about how soloable this will be, and according to the video, like they were doing a lot of stuff solo and on a big base, and I think that gave the false impression that I doubt it's going to be like that in a real game. You will need more people to gather resources. You need more people to fix stuff and take care of stuff and all that and what have you. So, yeah, there was a thread the week after, or during the week after CitizenCon, discussing how solo play is going to happen, or discussing solo play. So I think that's something for people to get back to. But yeah, I don't think that for the big base you're going to need more people. So. I don't know how people disappointed that may make sense.
Yeah, even if for some reason you're able to build it as a solo player, you still got to factor in the resources to build that large base. So even if your drones do most of the work and you still do a lot of the work solo, you still got to get the resources to do that work. So I think, like you said, the video makes it seem like it's a little less intensive from a group standpoint that it might be once you actually get into it.
All right. Okay, we're going to start winding down, but before we get to the end of before we get to the Q&A, we are doing a giveaway today. We are giving away a Argo CSV SM, an LTI, and a special paint.
Ooh.
So hopefully that'll start soon, and then we can get to our Q&A. We have a couple of questions for that. So let's see if I think it's got it on the giveaway first. And I have the questions over here. Okay, hopefully they'll start the giveaway soon. There it is. So the Argo CSV SM giveaway LTI, say exclamation point ticket 1, or ticket base 1. So get that in, get your entries in. There you go. It started. Good luck, everybody. And no, those citizens are not eligible. Just letting y'all know. So the first question is from Lord of the Drip. They're asking about the PU. Is the PU still basically unplayable? I haven't been in recently. Is the PU still unplayable for y'all? Have you been in recently?
So I played it last week Thursday before jumping back to the PTU, and that's when we went live. So far, if I recall, it's relatively stable. There are a few hiccups because, for instance, I tried mining again. I didn't check to see if that was part of the known issues, but depending on the server stability, some nodes, the laser just goes through the rock. So that's the only thing. So depending on your play style, persons will have different experiences in terms of the stability of the build. So it's definitely best to jump in if they can, to give it a go based on what kind of play style they experience, because each mechanic has different bugs and those things and instabilities, of course. So yeah.
Okay. All right. I guess we'll go to the next question. This is from Elizabeth Princess. So learning mining now should help for the future in Pyro and crafting. A lot of, what do y'all think before I give my answer? Mining now, how to mine now help in the future of Pyro and crafting. That is from Elizabeth Princess.
I definitely think it'll be helpful, especially since not only are you crafting different tiers of equipment and adding different levels of the ship, but you need, as they mentioned in the video, different quality levels of which you're actually gathering too. So getting your mining skills on point now will help you get that more desirable resources so that you can make the better equipment. You know, how fast your equipment deteriorates or how well it functions will be directly impacted by the resources you put into crafting it.
And the side effect is if they change or iterate mining between now and 1.0, it shouldn't change too drastically. So it should be like having to start from scratch if they do iterate on it. So yeah, if you want to learn how to mine or learn how to salvage, yeah, y'all can get in now. But I mean, like even if you spend the first week on 1.0, you shouldn't be too far behind. Hopefully, my opinion. So I have a question myself. So, do you think that I should be able to use my super collider to change the stats on a double dog? Because a hot dog can different stats on a hot dog can satiate you. So yeah, do you think I can use my super collider to change the stats of a double dog? No? Okay, fine. Let's see what's going on with this.
I just want to see you try. Whether it works or not, I want to see you try.
I'm gonna try. It'll probably wind up overcooked. That's my guy. So yeah, so let's get to see. I'm gonna close out the giveaway. Captain John, give us a countdown for the closing of the giveaway from 5.
All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And they jumped the gun, but that's okay. Crypt won the giveaway. You won the Argo CSVSM. Congratulations. There they are too. So Crypt, what you want to do is email soulcitizens@gmail.com. Soulcitizens with an S on the end, and tell us your RSI email and RSI account name, so we'll get that to you as soon as we can. Congratulations.
Congrats.
Will do. Thank you. Cool. All right, so let's start to wind down. Karate, you want to tell folks what's going on Thursday, please?
Yeah, sure. So you'll tell them the time zone, but on Thursday, okay, there's the time zone. From 9 p.m. Eastern, wherever you are, just Google it. We talk Soul Talk.
2 a.m.
right?
UTC. 2 a.m. UTC.
Exactly. Thank you, FC. So 2 a.m. UTC. We talk Soul Talk, all the happenings for Star Citizen, from the official channels of Star Citizen from CIG. We look at the This Week in Star Citizen, we look at the Galactipedia updates, look at the roadmaps, the monthly reports, the ISC if they have it, the SCLs from last week, which was a pretty good one, by the way. So looking forward to that too for this Thursday. And pretty much, we also look at some machinima from the community, and you are all the more welcome to join us and talk about and give your opinions as part of the Soul Talk community. So, looking forward to seeing all of you there.
and y'all can try to ban me for making jokes. Try.
Not
Emphasis on
try. We will.
Captain Jones, you'll talk about Soul Voices, please.
Yeah, Soul Voices. So you want to join Soul Voices coming up this Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern time.
7 p.m. UTC.
10 p.m. UTC. And Soul Voices be part of Pot Saturday. Soul Voices will be kicking it off. And it's as with Soul Talk, it'll be open to the community. So click on that Discord link and jump into various topics and things that's going on at the moment, from Spectrum and Star Citizen
Reddit.
Live, or any
Right.
Reddit, or any of the topics that are going on now. So, we like to have that opportunity for the community to jump in and share their voices. Soul Voices, called Soul Voices for a reason. So click in and jump in and join the conversation.
Yep. And then on Sunday, next Sunday, 11/11, on November 11th, we have the final two sessions from CitizenCon, Captains of Industry and the Start My Destination 1.0. And that starts at 7 p.m. Eastern, midnight UTC. So join us for that. 11/17, my bad, 11/17. Yeah, thank you for the correction. The small print, sorry about that. My eyes are getting old. 11/17. All right. So thank you all for joining us. Hope y'all enjoy it. If you want to support us, you can buy our merchandise. Click the link down below. We're Soul Citizens with an S on the end everywhere on social media. And I want to say thank you, Captain Jones, thank you, Cavalry, and thank you for Griffin for running the tech behind the scenes. Appreciate y'all. Hope y'all had fun. I definitely learned more stuff, because every time I see it, I pick up more stuff. So I hope y'all felt the same. And
Most definitely.
I think yes, we're going to be raiding Grim. So hope y'all send Grim our love. And with that, I'm going to say peace, love, and show.